Welcome back to the Big Blue Lifers podcast. I'm Mr. U. That's Jess. We're here to talk all things New York Football Giants. A lot to talk about, a lot to get into. This won't be a boring night for sure. Brother, how you doing tonight, man? How's it going?
I'm doing all right. Again, kind of just numb to all of this at this point. Just mock drafts are my pastime now. I just do them over and over and over again. Different trade scenarios, different end of year scenarios, draft order scenarios, just trying to get an idea of what to look forward to.
Gotcha. Well, we're going to get into a little bit of the mock draft discussion. Let's put a little time aside for that too, just to look at what's the most viable move for us. Seems like we moved up in the rankings a little bit, so that may be a slight advantage for us to do some things there. But we'll get into that. But yesterday, we had another riveting game. I say that because it feels to me, and I'm not sure how many games it's been, so I'm going to put the wrong number out there and have people blast in the comments. But I'm pretty sure it's been more than 5 games, but we just seem to be in every game until we get to the fourth quarter. We were holding I know we had four consecutive fourth quarter leads, if I'm not mistaken, and we blew all 4 of them. So riveting because it looks like, you know what? The Giants are about to get a win against what is likely a playoff team. Another one, the 4th one, and we lose. So and we're talking about off air. We got a chance to have the full Jameis experience. Dodged out with a concussion. Hopefully he's back very soon. We definitely can use his moxie out there for sure. We got Jameis. Jameis from start to finish. I guess it's kind of what you expected. A lot of high intensity passes, I guess you could say. And so always a chance of some picks, and that's kind of who Jameis is, but he brings the energy to the team. And you know what? Honestly, it's no such thing as a moral victory here, but we need that. We need that kind of moxie and that kind of attitude out there from the quarterback. We come to appreciate that in Dart, and Jameis just kind of pick it up where he left off. But the full Jameis experience, like you called it, man, we had it.
Yeah, Jameis should have had like 5 interceptions that game. Clearly the wind was a factor for both teams, as we saw with the kicking issues that both teams had. But at the same time, it's like, if we just don't blow leads to the Cowboys, the Saints, the Broncos, I wouldn't say the Niners. That game we were pretty well out of it. But now here against the Packers, we're a 6-5 team or so. Like we're 6-4, 6-5, something like that. And all of a sudden we are in the playoff discussion. We are firmly in the playoffs. And at the very least, very viable for them.
Absolutely.
And I think it all starts with the defense. It's, it feels like we can only go so many weeks saying the same things, but the Giants have the worst fourth quarter defense in the NFL, bar none. And I don't think it's particularly close. I was on Twitter earlier and I was looking through, I follow several analytics pages, they'll post all these graphs and charts, showcasing how various players and teams have done in different metrics. And it's like fourth quarter defense productivity or something like that, like up top right is as good as you can be, bottom left is as bad as you can be. Giants are the only team firmly in the bottom left, like as far bottom as you can be and as far left as you can be. And that's their fourth quarter defense. And now it's coming out that Abdul Carter is sleeping through team meetings and late to drills and stuff like that. And Daboll was not holding him accountable. Huh?
Sounds like he's bored.
But I think it all stems back to Bowen. With every report that's come out, particularly involving the defense, it sounds like it's that these guys do not believe in Bowen. They don't think they can win because they don't think they have they don't think they have true leaders, on the team and the coaching staff, guys that are going to be able to put them in position, to maximize their talents. And I mean, it's just, how many teams do you think, we have more talent on the defensive line between Dex, Burns, Kayvon, and Carter than any other team in football? But other teams are getting more consistent production from their guys because they buy in. They're giving 110%. They're disciplined if they're not holding, lane integrity, all this sort of stuff. The Giants just don't have that. We need someone in the building that is going to be our Dan Campbell. I've said this before and I will say it again. The Giants should not approach this offseason thinking to themselves, for a head coach, we need a guy that's going to maximize Dart specifically. We don't need a guy who's going to be coming in and being like, okay, I'm going to devote all my time to maximizing this defense. No, we need a true CEO. We need a guy that is going to get this company going. We need a guy that's going to cut costs, make tough decisions, discipline those who need to be disciplined, and be a real leader of men here. That's what the Giants need. And as I said on the show last week, look at the Lions before and after Campbell, what he has brought to that team. And they've found good coordinators to kind of fill in some of the holes there. And you're going to be able to do that. I mean, you might end up a bit like Philly, where, if you get the wrong coordinator, it can lead to some issues. But at the end of the day, Philly still wins games. They still find ways to win because they are that good. They have the proper voice in the building, and they know how to win. The Giants don't know how to win. That's it. We don't know how to win. We need to get a guy who's going to be able to guide us and teach us how to win. Because right now they don't know how. And the players just are not bought in on the coaching staff, especially on defense, it sounds like. And that's why you have 5 games where they've blown leads of at least 10 plus points, 4 of which were on the road. They're like the 3rd or 4th team in NFL history to do that in a season. So,
yeah. So let's look into that a little bit, because I'm with you on everything that you said. I want to come back to that head coaching voice in the room conversation at some point during this episode. But clearly, man, I said this, I think, the past 2 weeks consecutively. I'm trying to figure out, why is this man still our DC? Why are you still here? It can't be about dirty pitches anymore because Daboll is not here anymore. So, why are you here? The defense is continuing to struggle. In his tenure, we got probably 41 losses in 52 games. The games that they blew, 4th quarter leads. Chargers, the Broncos, the Eagles, the Bears. These are all teams that are likely going to be in the playoffs, more than likely. And the Packers, including yesterday. All of them possibly playoff teams. I don't understand how we can. It seems like we do so good in some areas on the defense, and then so epically bad. I guess the number that we held Green Bay's under 300 total yards, which is a good thing. If a team can do that, generally you got a chance to win that game. So that's not a bad thing. But on the defensive side, no takeaways. I think on a total, how many games we played so far? They got with 2-9, so it's 11 games. We got 6 takeaways on the entire season. That's not a good ratio. That's high for almost near last in the league, 31. We've given up almost 150 points in the fourth quarter. It's probably the most in the NFL. So I don't understand how Bowen take a look in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm doing the best I can with this team. The talent like you laid out, that talent is remarkable. It's really hard to dispute. I put them up, and we said this in the preseason, and I still stand by it even at a 2-9 clip. I put them against anybody in the league. And so you know what? We can go toe-to-toe with anybody in the right circumstances because the defense is just flat out talented. Why do you think so many people want to come over here and coach this team? We become the marquee place to be because we got a wide receiver who's the elite number one wide receiver. We got a QB1. We got we got a running back in Scat. We'll talk about Tracy later. And we got a defense it looks really, really good. And the O-line without big notable names are still doing very well. So people want to be here, be with us. So it speaks to the talent that we have, and for some reason Bowen doesn't seem to be able to use it. And I'm just having a hard time understanding that. And even on top of that, it go back to Joe Shane again. I don't know when you want to get into that part of the conversation. We got to get there at some point because all the moves that got made, a lot of this stuff was on him. I mean, because we had 3 years of really horrible defense, but especially run defense. People were running on us. They were killing us for the past 3 years. We didn't solve anything in the run defense area, really. I've been talking about linebacker for like 2.5 years. I guess nobody listening to me. I said we don't have viability at linebacker. To match up with the team that we play against, especially in our division, we need to have linebacker. No viable pickup at linebacker came through. I know what the guys are doing. They got injured or even with K-Barn and such, but honestly, no viable picks up at linebacker to address the run defense thing. No pass rushing from the defensive tackle position. Flanagan Fowles had a good game yesterday, but that's not. We can't live off of that alone. Poor tackling. We don't have depth, and we definitely don't even have aggression and attitudes. We're missing a whole bunch of stuff. And the front office thought it was good to let Leonard Williams go, to let Xavier McKinney go. McFadden got hurt, so we definitely missing him for real. And we've seen it come on the other side. Banks, he did good against Love in regards to covering against the pass. But the run defense was horrific. I think you mentioned about Daboll last week. We were hoping he was going to get in this week, but he didn't get in. But they are struggling without him. And no big plays at safety. It's rough. And on top of that, you got all these high-priced guys like Holland who are doing good, but not commensurate with the amount of money that they're being paid. So all this points back to Shane again. Like, what are we doing out here? So there's a lot going on. On top of that, there's no pass rush either. Last 3 games, Abdul Carter was basically invisible. Dexter, invisible. Tavon, nothing happened yesterday whatsoever. Zeros. So there's just a lot of bad stuff going on the defense. It's like, with all that being said, I don't want to pile on, but it's hard to understand how Bowen is still sitting in this spot. So I know he has to go. I think it's just common sense. It probably should have happened before Daboll was released, but it hasn't. Look at these numbers today. We're in Monday evening, and he's still here. Kind of shocked by that. But he's not offering anything to this to help make the defense better, and he has to go. Whoever's behind him, let's give them a shot. Because, man, you ain't got it. But we can go ahead and keep on moving. I think the defense discussion, I think I drug it more than enough, but it's been rough out here. But go ahead, man.
I mean, the fact that he isn't removed doesn't surprise me. I mean, we're just at this point, it is what it is. I don't think they're gonna make any further changes during the season to anybody. But
Ryan, man, not with this guy. You got rid of the head coach.
And I think that's as much as we're gonna get.
That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. Why is he not expendable? I ain't saying fire everybody right now because we need somebody to coach. But this guy, in this situation, with the defensive output, why are you getting to stay? I don't get that. I'm missing something. Help me. Help me understand. Why
The
you?
truth is, I don't have an answer. I don't think he should be. If it were up to you and me, he would have been gone after like week 4 or 5. Definitely after Denver.
Well,
Probably should have been gone after Dallas.
Well, after Denver, before he got on that plane, he was already done.
If it were up to me, I think the entire coaching staff would have been gone after Denver.
It's hard for me to say stuff like that because those kind of blanket statements, I get nervous about that and they come back and bite you. But I know for sure that Bowen should have been history. There's no way he's still here. And then after we saw that in Denver, how many games happened after that? I think it was like probably 3 games. We blew 4 quarter leads after the Denver. And that man is still here. There's no redeeming quality to him being here. Why are you still here? Now the guys are doing the same thing we said about the offense when Russell would come in. Everybody slumped over, body language, sleeping during meetings. It said something about how they responded to their leadership. I ain't talking about John Merrill or even Shane for that. I'm talking about Shane Bowen. We can keep the train moving, man, but I know you have some thoughts about the offense and how that was looking. That's a lot to talk about. But before you get into that, man, shout out to our people who are listening. Hey, good to have you here, Dynamic. Thanks for jumping in and checking us out. Hope you enjoy the podcast. Drop any questions and comments you have in the chat. We'll put them up on the screen as soon as we can. Go ahead, man. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, on the offensive side, I think I would give Kafka a B- for his debut as a head coach. It certainly wasn't bad. It wasn't great or anything, and I think he is handicapped a little with no Dart, with no.
What do you want him to do? For what he could do? How was that? I mean.
Yeah, with what he could do, I'm gonna give it a B-. Yeah, I think we got these reports that he was supposedly meeting with Bowen to tweak the defense, and while I think the corners played better, and I think overall the defense was better, the run defense was still really bad, and at the end of the day, we still lost. We still gave up 27 points. It was just not a great day overall. The offense was fine. I mean, we had a chance to tie it at the end there. I don't know. I wasn't blown away. A win would have probably raised it from a B- to an A-. But at the end of the day, we lost. It wasn't by any means some great showcase, but I want to give, major credit to this offensive line. I saw people talking about how we should this offseason, let Jermaine Illuminor walk, trade run, just clear up all of this cap space to go out and sign other players. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, why? This is the best offensive line we've had since maybe 2008. Like, JMS has allowed 2 pressures in the last 3 games he's played. He's grown tremendously.
Where did that come from?
I have no idea. He was the highest graded pass blocker in football on Sunday, according to PFF. He didn't allow a pressure. He didn't allow a hit. He didn't allow a sack. He was the highest graded pass blocker, according to PFF.
This is what frustrates me about this team. Everything you're saying is not you. Don't take it personal. Not you, but everything you're saying is frustrating me. Because we can see offense, defense, maybe even special teams, not sure. We can get back to that. But talent through and through, across the board, everywhere. We know what they can do. I was big on JMS in the draft. I said, please get him. We get him based on what I saw him do in college. Yes, definitely. I know it's Minnesota, but nonetheless, what he can do with us is fantastic. that's just a microcosm you just talked about of what is possible. And with Illuminor, me and you went back and forth with him a little bit, but I ain't against him. I like him. I don't want him to go hit the streets. I'd rather him stay
No,
with us.
I want us to resign him. But the issue is, I think now he's going to cost $20 million.
That was surprising.
If we can sign him for another 2-year kind of deal, 2-3-year deal, like if we can give him a 3-year deal that essentially evens out to about $20 million a year with an out after 2, similar to the way we set up the Adebo and the Holland contracts, I think that would be great. Because Jermaine Illuminor has been really good. The only guy that I think we truly need to replace this offseason is Greg Van Roden at right guard. And that's more about an age thing than it is his play. But if we can get a great right guard, that would be a huge boost for the run game.
Let's not do that in the top 10, though.
No. There is not a single guard in this draft worth a top 10 pick. There is no Quentin Nelson this year. There is no Zach Martin. There's nobody like that. I think the highest projected guard is a back end of the middle of the first kind of guy, and that's the guard out of Penn State whose name I can't pronounce. It's like Ionen.
I'll work on it for you. I'm good with linguistics. I'll work on it for you, but let's keep the conversation going on. I'll do it for you.
Yeah,
I want you.
Vega Ioanan. Yeah. Look, go to Tankathon. He's right now. They're projecting us to take him in the second round. I don't think he lasts to the second round, but
all right.
But he's the only guy that I think is gonna be like an interior lineman that's worth that pick. I mean, Connor Liu, center out of Auburn. But if JMS continues to play like this, I don't think we necessarily need to go center super high. Maybe Logan Jones in the 5th round or something like that. But I think right now our offensive line has been really good, especially in pass pro. It could use a bit of work still and run, but we saw what we were able to do this on Sunday. We didn't have some all-star running game, but we were very efficient. We didn't have a single negative rush the entire game, unless you want to start counting like sacks, essentially.
We're gonna need guard help for sure. And I don't just mean on the right side. I'm talking on the side too.
But I don't think we need to trade Runyon. I don't think we need to cut Runyon. Good offensive line play does not grow on trees. We know that better than almost anybody.
You can't ignore the depth issue.
But that's an entirely separate thing. The depth issue to me is something that like
you're gonna get probably from the draft.
Yeah, but like we're
draft right now.
Right now, I have like unless a really good offensive line prospect just falls into our lap because we don't have a 3rd round pick, so it would have to be a 2nd round pick, or unless we end up like getting pick 1 or pick 2, and we can just trade back, accumulate more assets, maybe trade back twice. I've seen some people talk about, just keep getting all these day 2 picks, or maybe even an extra first next year.
Because of where we are, I'm not against that. Because of where we are, it depends on where we're dropping back at. That's not a bad idea.
Exactly. So like I'm, especially since it sounds like we're going to be targeting wide receiver is the heavy presumption right now in the 1st round. Why not? Like, where do you think we should go?
How are you going to trade back and target a wide receiver in the 1st round? I don't get that. I saw somebody talk about dropping down to like the lower part of the top of the top 10.
Yeah,
but Tyson
and if it's Jordan, chances are if we go from 2 to, let's say the Raiders want to trade up from like where they're projected to be. Like if they win tonight, I think they're at 8. If we drop down from 2 to 8, we would get their 1st this year, their 2nd this year, and their 1st next year, something like that.
Really?
Oh yeah,
That's
especially
that's fine.
if
That's my call.
Tennessee holds Pat at number 1 and chooses to stick, and they just take an Arvell Reese, Caleb Downs, Reuben Bain, something like that, because they're not going to go quarterback. And the Raiders are right there asking for, because they want to get their quarterback, because Geno clearly isn't it. We're gonna be able to tax the heck out of that pick. We are gonna QB tax. We are gonna throw so much QB tax on there. It's gonna be ridiculous.
Unless the Titans drop down too.
Well,
Then
that's
we
what
got a
I'm
big
saying. If the Titans choose to trade back, then our leverage kind of goes out the window. I still think, depending on how far back we go, we can definitely get a first round pick. Because if we're going from 2 to outside the top 5, that is a significant drop. That is a taking yourself at a 90% of the blue chip prospects kind of drop. So I still think we'd be able to. Again, this is all presuming, because if all the quarterback needy teams end up in the top 5, a lot of this is a moot point. But anyways, my point is, like, if we do trade back, accumulate more assets, then I'd be much more comfortable being like, okay, we can afford one of our day 1, day 2 picks to be on offensive line depth. But with the holes we currently have at wide receiver, linebacker is our worst position group, I would say. And that includes corner, which is another top need. Like, Bobby Okereke has been okay this year. He's been solid. He's still a guy that I would consider for clearing up cap space purposes, either cutting or trading. I do think he has some trade value, but that is, again, a discussion for if we really want to go back and forth about that for a later date. But either way, Micah McFadden, he's a free agent this year. Are we re-signing him? I don't know. He's been injured this whole year. Do we want to throw a bunch of money at that? Who knows? So can we get an Anthony Hill? Will Sonny Styles fall to the second? I don't think we're going to be in any position to get Arvell Reese unless we take him in the top 5. But CJ Allen, Anthony Hill, Jacob Rodriguez, all these guys, because that what was his name? EJ Wilson, the running back who scored the touchdown. I saw a replay of that.
Who?
Dexter, the Packers running back. Emmanuel Wilson, thank you. Emmanuel Wilson, the Packers running back. On that run he had, I saw clips going around. Dexter Lawrence was triple teamed on that. And he still just was able to skirt right through because there was no lane commitment. There was nobody making the right reads there at the second level. It was ridiculous. We need a guy who can just fly up and stuff that. And Micah McFadden has gotten better each year that he played. We just, right now, as his contract is up, we are not seeing him play. So maybe we re-sign him at a heck of a discount, and I would love that. I would love to keep him on this team as if nothing more than a depth piece. But we need to address linebacker, in my opinion, this year. We can't run out Darius Masau and Flanagan Fowles, whatever his name is, and keeping, we need guys who can stuff the run. Like, a lot of people talk about, we need another defensive tackle alongside Dexter Lawrence, and that is absolutely true. But more than that, we need a linebacker that can go up there and pop these running backs in the mouth. We need someone who can just go out there and lay the wood on these guys, just absolutely deck them, put them in the dirt, make them scared to get to the second level. I wasn't around for those 80s defenses that the Giants had with Banks and Taylor and all those guys. But everything I hear about, that's what they did. They were real enforcers. We need that.
They cared about the whole process. They actually wanted. They actually were invested in doing that, and they had the attitude and the aggression to go with it. I think it's few and far between these days. But I don't know where they are. They're not on this team. I don't know where they are. I'm with you though. There's some good linebackers. We can talk about those. I don't know if it's going to be today or not, or in a future episode. But there's some linebackers out here in the draft. And one guy from my team, Michigan, who I'm not advocating. He doesn't tackle enough, so I'm not advocating him. But there's a lot of good linebacker help there. Even some running backs that I'm like, ooh, I know that nobody wants to do that, but there's some running back opportunities there. I'm like, ooh, I'm not bringing it up because of what I want to say about Tracy tonight. But when I go into this big board, I see these running backs. I'm like, oh my goodness. You put these boys, or you put this boy on our team, and guess what? The whole game changes. And it changes like we become dominant at running back. Right now, that's what I'm not seeing. You and I were talking about Singletary, I think, in the preseason, talking about what we can get for him. And that man became the lead dog. He had 2 scores last night or yesterday. And Tracy does good when it comes to yardage, but they don't trust him in the red zone for some strange reason. I'm at a point where it's like, can we afford to
have any power? It seems like.
Well, with the guys that I'm seeing on the big board, these guys have that and then some. Guys like Jeremiah Love, who would probably be way early for him.
Oh yeah, no, if we take a guy like Love,
my guy from Michigan, don't count him out. If he's healthy, my guy from Michigan, Justice Haynes, he has power. You want that bowling ball hitting. I'm him and Stat hitting people. Guys ain't gonna want to tackle these guys and they out here. But that's just me kind of waxing eloquent about Justice Haynes because I'm like he's a power back and he can take long runs. He's been doing it all year before he got injured. 56-yard runs, 74, 80 something. He's been doing it the whole year before he got hurt. So he's out for the season, by the way. But yeah, I'm not really feeling Tracy. I waited as long as I really could with him. I'm like, yeah, I'm not really feeling it. So if they don't trust him, I don't know why we should be thinking about him either. So I know running back is not something we should be thinking about early in the draft, but just throwing it out there because we know we definitely need to have some help at safety. I'm not happy with the secondary, period. I want somebody to come in and I want guys to come in and push. I'm not thrilled with them whatsoever. Linebacker, you already mentioned that. We talked about that on multiple shows. Our weakest position, we got to solve that with more. Probably need a couple to fix this problem that we got. O-line, like you said, with potentially replacing GVR. I think we got issues at both guard spots. I think we need depth there. And you said wide receiver. I like it. Don't know how early we're going to do that. But speaking of wide receiver, this is the stuff that makes me wonder, okay, we got to get into Joe Shane at some point because I feel like he's escaping. It's been real quiet. Everybody talking about the head coaching job, and nobody's really talking about him anymore. Kind of like a smoke screen, like, oh, I'm avoiding any kind of responsibilities here. But Neal's on IR for who knows how long. Wilson and Hyatt, I feel like they have zero trade value. All three of them have no trade value at this point. And you had a chance to unload them for something. And Hyatt really demolished his trade value yesterday. I'm sorry. It wasn't just one thing. He showed himself to be somebody who doesn't look like he's a good football player. And I don't know if that's something he can come back from. It's ugly. So getting a wide receiver, I'm with you. Who do you want to get? Sign me up. We can't get Titan. Titan will be too early probably if we decide to trade back. Who can we get? I'm willing to listen on anybody at this point because he ain't it. And I don't know if Clayton, that what his contract is, but it's like we can't rely on Clayton to be
we can't get off of Slayton's contract, not this upcoming.
We gotta get off it, but he can't be the wide receiver too. That's all I'm saying.
No, we're gonna have some interesting decisions to make for wide receiver this year. We're gonna have to figure out are we going to re-sign Wan'Dale? I think he could. His closest comparison would be Khalil Shakir. I don't know if he would get Khalil Shakir money. Khalil Shakir.
That's a comparison because that's not a very good one.
4 years, 60 million, 32 guaranteed. They're
I mean,
both undersized slot receivers that are going to try and do damage after the catch. That's not a terrible contract. I don't know if I want to be, especially being that we've already paid Slayton. I don't know if we want to give that to him, especially if we're going to allocate a first-round pick to wide receiver. But at the same time, how much wide receiver depth can you truly let leave, you know?
I hate the comp. I don't get the contract with like the comp. I don't like that. Shakir, this year is different because he's not doing what he was doing the past few years to warrant that contract. But he was basically Josh Allen's safety net for a couple of years at least. That's how he got that money. So Wandale, he does that, I guess, because we don't have anybody else. But I don't feel like you're going to give him a 4 year and 60 because of that. I don't. I'm not really. I like him. I love him to stay there. He's not our wide receiver too either. I still want to bring somebody else in who's going to be able to dominate, especially with height potentially. I'd rather him be the. If Ted McMillan was still out there in the draft, that's why we want to be our wide receiver too, because he's more of a fit for what I think Dart and the Giants offense is wanting to do. But I like Wandale, but 4 years and 60, I don't like him that much. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's 4 or 5 guys that currently are projecting to be in like the first round area of the draft. Number 1, I think most people have is Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State. He's 6'2". Then you have Mekhi Lemon out of USC, who's 5'11". Then you have Carnell Tate out of Ohio State. He's 6'3". Denzel Boston out of Washington, he's 6'4". My favorite, I think Tyson is the best wide receiver, but my concern with him is his injury history. And as
look at this build. He got that Devontae Smith build. That was concerning when he came out of the draft too. It's like
Devontae Smith didn't have a history of injuries to his knees and ankles.
Well, no, wait. He had injuries.
Also, Devontae Smith ain't 6'2". He's like 5'11".
No, he's not. Do your homework, man. Devontae Smith don't know 5'11". Anyway, get back to your point about wide receiver, man.
Devontae Smith, 6 foot. 6 foot even is what they're reporting here.
Get back to your point. I want to get lost here.
But anyways, but like, yeah, so of those 3, I think Carnell Tate would be a great compliment. He's big. He can go up and get it. Great hands, durable, reliable. I think, again, if you are just going pure best player, I think that's Tyson. Mekhi Lemon, I think, has the best hands of the 3. I think he has the lowest drop percentage of the top 3 guys. His drop rate is only 2.7% according to PFF. Tyson is around there as well, and Carnell Tate, well, at least this year it's saying he has a 0% drop rate. So at least this year. So I don't know, man. I think I would be happy with all 3 of them. I would be the most worried about Tyson just because, again, injury history. But I don't think you could go wrong with any of those 3.
Nah, man. They trust Lemon at USC. That's for sure. We got over 1,000 yards so far. We're not even done with the season yet.
2 more games minimum, and that's not counting the bowl. And if they make the playoffs, who knows? Because they can beat Oregon and put themselves in playoff contention.
So he's definitely. It feels like after Lemon, I guess maybe Boston. It kind of seems like it drops off a little bit, but I feel like these guys, man, they got the see my buddy over there, Jeremy Bernard out there. I'm like, oh Lord, my Alabama friend's gonna be going crazy over him. But I'm like, yeah, I don't feel that one so much. But yeah, we need help there for sure. Not much to say about high beyond that, man. I just don't think he's good. I'm just tired of seeing. I think Giants fans are tired of seeing it, and we could have got something for him, and now we're not going to get anything for him probably. Nobody's going to pick him up. But yesterday was a stinker. You talking about Isaiah Hodgins? You were happy about that, The guy came off the street and outplayed all our wide receivers. Not sure that's a good thing.
But I mean, we had been clamoring. I feel like fans have been clamoring for Hodgins to come back since, well, honestly, the off season. Like, people had been like, why not bring him back? And then especially after Neighbors went down, he was like the number one name. People are like, hey, we need to fill a slot here. Bring in Hodgins, elevate little Jordan,
That's all.
It's just it's stuff like this that truly makes me think, as a fan, maybe I could run a team. At the very least, I don't think I could be that much worse than what we've got going on here.
You like him that much, huh?
Not that I like him that much. I certainly don't think Isaiah Hodgins is some game changer. But at the end of the day, if he's gonna be productive, which we've seen him be in this system, why not? Why are we putting Gunnar Olszewski out there at wide receiver for real reps? Why are we so reliant on these little short wide receivers like Ray McLeod and Wandale and Gunnar and Bo Collins? We seem to give up on that pretty quickly. We don't keep little Jordan around after he had that big game against the Philly, and then he did nothing the next 2 weeks. I don't think he even got a target, not even a go up and get it ball. And all of a sudden, we've seen what Isaiah Hodgins can do here, and all of a sudden, lo and behold, look at what he can do. At the very least, he can't be worse than what we have. But the guys we have in charge are so stubborn about, like, okay, it has to work, because if it doesn't, I look like an idiot. Well, guess what? You look like more of an idiot if you just keep doing the same thing over and over again.
Gotcha. I want us to end the show on two topics, because I feel like once I say where they are, probably will spend a lot of time, maybe more than what we planned, on those. And that's the head coaching discussion and this whole Shane thing. Like I said, I feel like he's escaping some of the heat that he should be getting right now. This draft is coming up. And I know you're doing mocks. I did one or two. I didn't do a whole lot, but I'm getting there, brother. I'm getting back into the swinging thing, looking at linebackers. I'm getting there. So if you want to do some mock drafts together, just send me some stuff and we can go ahead and have fun with it, nigga. I'm here. I'm ready.
I'm down to do one live on the pod. I'm down to do it.
Oh my God. Okay, let's do that. I'm ready for it. I've done that on many shows, so easy. Nothing to it. We can do that next week if you want to. All right. So as far as draft goes for 2026, this draft right here, if Shane is still working by season's end, because there's no guarantee of that part either, quite honestly. I mean, I'm assuming he's going to be part of the interview process, which is awkward if you're not going to be here, potentially, but it is what it is. But this draft right here literally has to be his best in history. It has to be. If you're going to be still on for 2026, he's committed to the 2026 season. If Mara allows him to stay that long, this draft has to be it. You and I have discussed the previous drafts on multiple occasions. A lot of misses. 2024, we kind of felt like, you know what? Not bad, decent, did okay. But this draft has to be the one. He has to hit. If he trades back once, he got to hit on who he picks up. Trades back twice, you got to hit. I love what happened with Dart. I ain't going against that. I don't care if Dart has a bad season next year. I still love what they did. I think it was a fantastic move. We needed it. It was better than the options that I think we could be looking at even potentially this year. I'm glad we did this. So I'm happy about it. However, this draft is the one, man. We need safety. We need linebacker help. We need O-line assistance, because even if you retain, Bo's going to be with us, but if you bring Aluminor back, we still need O-line help. Like I said, I ain't convinced on the guard situation. We got to handle that, and guards in the street. Not sure what's out there. It's going to be available. We'll find out as we get into the end of the season. You see all kind of names start popping up. But wide receiver, I still feel like running back is still an issue. I mean, do you like Singletary and Tracy that much based on what you've seen, or do you think you know what it would behoove us to upgrade? That's just the question I'm putting out here in conjunction with all this draft stuff. But Shane has to have the draft of his life. You agree with that?
Oh, I agree 1,000%. I don't think he's actually dodged as much criticism as I think you're thinking he has. I've seen plenty of people.
That's what I meant.
Oh yeah, on this show, I feel like I don't know. Like I feel like I'm still a bit of a Shane apologist. Like I think he needs to go just because I think we need to clean house. I think we need the fresh start with how things have gone and how bad certain things have gotten. But at the same time, I think that, we were just talking about, how great this offensive line's played. Well, 4 of the pieces of it are his acquisitions.
Fair.
1 draft pick and 3 free agency pickups.
And we're in a good money spot too. We're in a good money spot too, to be fair.
So I don't think like he's been as bad as people make it out. Like I know there are some Giants fans that think he's actually done a terrible, terrible job. And to a certain degree, he has. Like, I mean, the fact
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think that particularly, I know some people talk about Julian Love, and I'm like, Julian Love, yeah, like that one is the one that makes the least amount of sense to me because not only did we let Julian Love walk, no one offered him. So he came back to take the offer we originally gave him. We then said no because I think we had made one move or something like that to replace him or something like that. And then he went and signed like a vet minimum prove it deal with Seattle. And even then got a small contract extension after that. And only recently is he now playing, like this really good, really high level football for Seattle. Leonard Williams is having the best years of his career, but we traded him for the second that we then traded to get Brian Burns. So I'm not losing sleep over that. If I could bring one player back, it'd be McKinney. Maybe it would be Leonard Williams to put on the defensive line, but it would
both
be
of them.
Could you imagine this defensive line with Dex, Williams, Carter, Burns, and Thibodeau? Like a 5-man rush. A 5-man rush with that. Everybody gets one-on-one. That would be
Nobody's
crazy.
want to play. Nobody's want to play.
But anyways, like again, I think Shane has been fine. He hasn't hit as much as you would like, but again, at the same time, like we see the talent. Like I keep going back and forth about like if Shane is able to bring in good enough, like a good coaching staff that can elevate the talent on the roster, put us in winning positions. I think guys who haven't been what maybe we would want them to be, like a Phillips, who seems to have regressed this year to be a bit of a liability in coverage, Newbin taking his poor angles and, some of his indecisiveness. Like there are guys here, there are players here that I think could definitely stand to be elevated from coaching and then could be like these real pieces. Because I'm so sick and tired of seeing these flashes of talent from these guys. And then we keep the status quo for years until their contracts are up. And then we're like, well, they've been bad for us. We can't justify giving them money. And then they leave. And then they're at bare minimum, like a Julian Love's really solid contributor to someone else.
Incredible.
Never mind an Xavier McKinney level guy or a Saquon level guy.
Oh gosh, those are two tough subjects. But for me, I'm with you. I guess I gave him a B-, like how you gave Kafka. I think I give him a B- as well. From a GM standpoint,
I am going to give him a C, just a flat C as a GM.
Okay, well, I'm giving a B-. I'm gonna say why, and it's just my reason. I'm not saying I'm right. It's where I'm at. I don't like him not using the void year, but in hindsight, like I said last week, looking at where we are right now, the whole picture, But maybe it's good that we didn't go and invest a whole lot of money now. When we have a quarterback going on and injuries, and that, maybe it's a good idea that we didn't do that because now we're in a really good upcoming financial position. So that's why he's getting the B- basically on credit. But for me, this draft is huge. I'm going to be watching this one really, really carefully. I watch the draft every year, all the way down to the last pick. People cut out on day 3. I'm still there. Blasting it on ESPN, so I'm still there. But this draft has to be the one. He has to hit on pretty much everything. I don't know if he agrees with the guys that you and I like, but positionally, like you said, linebacker, safety, some O-line help, wide receiver, we got to tackle all that stuff. And I'm really, again, if you guys love Tracy that are watching and you're Giants fans, you love Tracy, you love Singletary, you think they're fantastic, or you think they're great, quote-unquote, low-budget options, that's up to you. But I've been watching this product for a long time. Not to age myself, you can see all the gray in here. I can't really hide it anymore. It's common knowledge now. But I want to go back to what I think is excellence. As a matter of fact, even do what we haven't done in those years. Go out here and do what, some of these other teams are doing all the time. They're stacking the deck at every position that they can. And I feel like Tracy and Singletary, they kind of just said, I'm sure Justin's not really thrilled with him like that. Justin's not beating the table for him. Nobody really is. So if we can do better, why not do better? These are the kind of guys that I don't mind trading. If they go somewhere else and they just exceed, well, guess what? That's just going to happen. McKinney and Williams are not good examples, or Barkley, because those are a little bit painful, but they are what they are. But Tracy and Singletary, I'm totally good with that. We can get something for them. Something significant. Tracy, even if you feel like Tracy is not strong, like you said, he doesn't have that power game, what have you, we can still get something vital for him. We can get a mid-level for him. I'm almost positive of that. Singletary, he's showing that he still got something. On a bad team, he still was out here running against a playoff team in the pack. I'm pretty sure it should be a playoff team, if I'm not mistaken, or close to it. They fight with the Bears, I think, right now. But Singletary went out there and showed out. Their trade value went up. Let's take advantage of that. Especially if we don't have any threes next year. Let's take advantage of that. There's a lot of guys I know you want to see go, like Carrick Hay and some other guys. Let's go. Matter of fact, you can go ahead and package Newman in there if you want to. As a matter of fact, I'm at a point now, I'm like, I ain't even sure I want to keep Collins anymore. I was pounding the table for him early on. I'm like, now I'm not really feeling the table pounding anymore. I'm like, whatever. Package these boards. We could do a whole lot. We can get some draft picks. And we need draft capital desperately. So let's do that. I'm totally on board with it. Look at the big board. It's a nice running back talent in it. Just picture it. Jeremiah Love is high. We ain't getting him, but look at the rest of it. There's some good stuff going on there. We can definitely take a jump on that, man. So I'm excited about it. Last point for the night, the head coaching discussion. I actually rated Kafka. I knew we were going to come back to this point. And you gave him a B minus. I think you said a B minus. So you like what he was doing. There's a lot of talk about him potentially being the guy he's proving himself. After one game, how do you say that? I don't know how you, but he's at least in the conversation, which is a good thing. The other guys that they're talking about, I'll be honest, I'm not really feeling a lot of the names I'm hearing thrown out here.
I hate so many of the names that I've seen being discussed here.
I'm going back on something I said on this show. I'm going back on something that I said. I was talking about Cliff Kingsbury. I changed my mind. Don't hold it against me. I don't want him to be the head coach anymore. I changed my mind, all right? So don't hold that against me later on. We fill that spot. I don't want that. We're good. I'm hearing names like Matt Nagy. I never thought that man was so vilified. I can't believe it. I'm actually hearing his name. Chicago ran him out on a rail. And all of a sudden now really? I'm shocked.
He goes to the Chiefs and the offense starts struggling.
That's not a coincidence, I'm sure. And then you got names like Vance Joseph. I know this is a sensitive subject because you start talking about, people being hired and people who are in minorities not being able to get a chance. I hear that. I respect that. I don't want Vance Joseph to be our coach. Just put it out there. I saw Joe Brady's name on there. I've loved him from the start. This is my first time seeing his name in the running. I haven't heard his name at all until today on Fox Sports. I like what he does only because of what I've seen him do with Buffalo and Josh Allen. So I feel like, you know what, that's good. I'm not saying he's a front runner. I'm just saying that's a good thing. Arthur Smith, what are we talking about right now? Why is his name?
I would be so livid. Like, I don't think you understand how upset I'd be if we brought in Arthur Smith to be the head coach.
I'd be livid with you. We'd be living together in two different states. Why his name? Why? What did you see in Pittsburgh that said, you know what? And Russell's still, he's not going to still be there because his contract's going to run out. But even seeing him walk in the building will send Russ into an apoplectic fit. And what they went through together in Pittsburgh. Why would you even think about bringing him in here? So that's a problem right there. I heard Notre Dame Marcus Freeman like, no. I heard from what's the ball guy name on Fox? I'm blanking on his name right now. Oh my god, the short ball guy. He used to do MMA fighting too. I'm blanking on his name. Oh my god. Anyway, he's the insider nonetheless. I think Glazer.
Oh,
he's he's a insider, and he's been talking to Shane. I think Shane, from what he gathered, anybody that's in college, they're non-factor. They're not going to be.
That's fair. I don't think we should be looking to bring a college guy up to the NFL.
I agree with that. He did hear names such as he heard Arthur Smith and they didn't like him. I'm like, no way. So that's a problem. Matt Nagy's name came up in that.
Fired off of that alone.
Steve Spagnuolo was in there. Honestly, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. His last 4 years in the head coaching, it was rough for him. It was so bad. He had to go back with his tail between his legs to go back to Kansas City. But so I don't know. The guy you talking about, Lou Anarumo, the only reason why I'm challenged with that one for a lot of reasons, but the biggest reason and the most obvious one is that he's a DC for Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
They are in the middle percentile since he's been to DC. So if you're gonna put his name out there and predicate it on this guy transforms defenses, but they're 17th in the league in most rankings or 19th in the league in some other rankings, what does that tell you? They're in the third percentile of the league. That's not they're below mid-level defensively in the league. Why would you use that as a selling point? So
the whole idea, I guess, would be look what I was able to do with less talent. Here's more talent. But it's again, like, where are the Jesse Minters? Where are the Hafleys? The defensive coordinator of Green Bay that we just played. Clint Kubiak, what he's doing in Seattle should be getting him, top billing.
His name is in there. His name's in there. Just not with Jay Glazer, but his name's in there. He's definitely on the list.
I don't like what is being reported. I do not like it, and I'm gonna blow a casket. All of the askets I'm going to blow.
There are no more
explode if this is what happens. If we end up with
there's no more askets. There's no more askets. There's no more askets. You already blew them already. So,
oh my god.
Yeah. So I didn't mention Antonio Pierce, which is probably a good thing because I'm not feeling.
I think he'd be fine as the defensive coordinator. He's not a head coach.
That's not what they're talking about. Mike McCarthy's name again. I think he's one of the front runners. I'm like, why? I don't. Oh man, I love what he did in Green Bay, but besides that, I'm like, nothing kind of hit me. Like, you know what? He made the Cowboys better. If he took them to a Super Bowl, then we have a different conversation. I couldn't spit on that. But since that didn't happen, I can spit all day if I want to. So I like Jesse Minter, but that's a Michigan thing. I could be biased. For me, I got to check myself on that one. That's all Michigan hard. I'm like, is he really good for a head coaching job? I'm not sure. I think he's a fantastic DC. He was a great OC at Michigan and played DC in Los Angeles. So he's fantastic. But as a head coach, I'm gonna check myself. I'll reserve thoughts on that one. But for me, I think it's gonna come down to perhaps Hafley, who seemed to be the front one. I don't know who you like and all this stuff, but Hafley, the guy who's in there. Brian Flores' name is still popping up. Can't believe Matt Nagy. I'm amazed by Matt Nagy. I can't believe it. I like Joe Brady there. Spagnuolo, I'm just really not sure, man. But who do you like, man? Who do you want to be the next head coach?
Right now, my preference would be Kubiak.
Okay.
Of the second attempt, third attempt guys, I guess McCarthy I'd be okay with. I don't think we'd be getting over the hump with him, but with a talented Dallas team, he was able to consistently get 12 wins with them because they were able to get good coordinators to help out. And, I feel like he knows enough about that sort of thing to, be able to get more good coordinators to put together decent units. Look, the Dallas wasn't able to get over the hump at all in the playoffs, really, with him. But at the same time, they were consistently getting 12 wins. I don't truly know how much of that was him, but it wasn't nothing. I don't know. All of the names that are coming out here, especially Arthur Smith, none of them are inspiring to any degree.
So you hate Hafley too as well, right? Am I getting that?
I'm sorry?
You don't like Hafley either, is that right?
Yeah, I think Kafka is fine as a coordinator. I will need to see more from him to be
not Kafka, Hafley.
Oh, Hafley. I heard Kafka. I'm sorry. Hafley. No, I'd like Hafley. I think he'd be good. I just think what Kubiak has been able to do with that offense in Seattle with Sam Darnold, I'd love to see what he could do with a guy like Dart. I'd love to see, what kind of things we could scheme up. Especially if, we're able to just kind of go in and, the GM search is, there's the assistant GM there in Seattle who's been there a good while. I think he'd be a great guy to bring in. And if it's him and Kubiak, I know we just did that sort of thing with Shane and Daboll, but the success of Seattle has really been the growth of this overall team, not just having a superstar legend level quarterback. They've clearly been able to put together well-rounded teams with good coaching staffs. Their down years are better than most of our good years in recent history, it feels like. So, that's a sort of thing I'd be very interested in.
All right. I'm going to put your feet to the fire because I think we're in agreement on the first two guys, Hafley and Kubiak. I don't know what order we have them in. I think you have Kubiak first. I'm not sure on that one myself, but those are the two guys that I like. Putting your feet to the fire before we close the show out. Who's the third guy you want in that list to be in the running? Even if it's Kafka, who do you? It don't matter. It's up to you. Who's the third guy you want in that list? McCarthy, Kafka, who you want?
My top three would be Kubiak, Hafley, Minter. And then if I had to replace one of those guys with a veteran guy, I would choose McCarthy, and I think I'd replace Minter right now.
Ooh. All right. Well, what we're going to plan to do, guys, you guys that are watching and listening, we'll be talking mock drafts like a whole lot. I've done a whole live mock draft special. I've done a live NFL draft special on one of our older shows, and a mock draft special is definitely coming. I can see that now. So
yep.
We got to find what platform we're going to use for this, but you might see it next week or the week following. We'll work it out offline and get it to you. Should be fun. I think we got 6 picks. If I'm not mistaken. The 7 got traded away, I think. So we got to figure out.
Also, part of my reasoning for not wanting Kafka is if he leaves, we'll get a compensatory third for him. Especially if he gets a head coaching job.
Oh, well. We can't control that part, but
No.
The leaving part, we can control that. Oh man, well, fun show, man, as always, brother. That's Jess. I'm Mr. U. We're talking all things New York Football Giants, and we're still here. We are bleeding, but we're bleeding.